Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Mr. Ijaz Nisar, Mr. Ghazi Akbar, Mr. Muzaffar Piracha. It is always difficult to be the also ran. But होता ये है कि जब 8-10 घोड़े हिस्सा लेते हैं किसी कंपटीशन में, तो उसके अंदर कोई तो जीतता है, विनर होता है, कोई रनर अप होता है, और फिर नंबर लाइन आती है ऑल्सो रैन. तो हम क्योंकि गेस्ट चीफ चले गए उनके बाद, तो हम ऑल्सो रैन में भी हैं. It's a great honor to be addressing the CEO's Club. And I want to particularly talk about the history of why this country is always capable of doing a turnaround. Today I was pleasantly surprised, and I would like to start off with that, is that to describe the opportunity that people have in Pakistan. I left the army in 1974. My son was 27 days old. I had no money for his milk. Today I have 12,000 people working for me. Where else can this happen except in Pakistan? I was very pleasantly surprised when Mr. Ghazi Akbar met me in the morning. He took me back 57 years. And I was a cadet in the BMA. War was coming. We were being taken out quickly out of the academy. And 2 courses were taken out. And we from 3rd term went straight into appointments into 4th term. Abhi hame ye afra tafri ho rahi thi. So his father, who was one of our company commanders, and हमारे 4 company commanders होते थे, और चारों वो होते थे जिनको पास होता था मेजर्स थे, जो बोलते थे कि ये हायरार्की में ऊपर जाएंगे. तो इनके वालिद साहब मेरे कंपनी कमांडर थे. मेरे कंपनी कमांडर नहीं थे, वो सलाउद्दीन के थे. उनकी गाड़ी आके मेरे कमरे के सामने पार्क हुई. मैं थोड़ा डर गया. मैंने बोला कि बिकॉज ही वॉज वेरी टफ मैन, तो अंदर आके बोलते हैं मुझे पैकअप करो. मैंने बोला सर, बोलते हैं पैकअप करो, यू आर गोइंग एज अ सीनियर ऑफिसर ऑफ माई कंपनी, सलाउद्दीन कंपनी. तो गाजी अकबर साहब, इट वॉज अ प्लेजेंट सरप्राइज. And I want to acknowledge what a great man your father was. And there's no wonder that his children have done so well. Because if you give good training to your youth, they will always do well. I'll tell you that Ijaz Nisar Saab has talked about Davos. Other people have been to Davos. I've been a member of Davos for now 28 years, World Economic Forum. Not Davos, but World Economic Forum, and they have their annual summit at Davos. And I had the privilege of having Muzaffar Piracha Saab there in May. People ask me, I was a member there for about 10 years before I realized that the Indians were absolutely overshadowing Davos. There was no mention of any Pakistani there. So I decided on my own that we'll take on, we'll do something. We did a Pakistan breakfast. Luckily, General Musharraf was a friend of mine. I went there and said, sir, why don't you come to Davos? He said, ye kya hota hai? Anyway, I convinced him. He went to Davos in 2003. And from there, the Pakistan breakfast started. And today, we've had 18 Pakistan breakfast, and the 19th one, inshallah, will be on 18th of January, as usual in the Steigenberger Belvedere. And We only have space for about 150 people there. There never has been less than 250 people there in that room. That is the interest in Pakistan. What is Pakistan? Let me tell you. In the World Economic Forum, they had us, because India was creating a lot of problems for us to be a part of South Asia. So they have a South Asian Forum, they have a Middle East, North Africa Forum, they have a Central Asian Forum, etc. So they said, well, you are part of South Asia and you are not part of South Asia. Anyway, because over the years I had established a rapport with them, I convinced them that we are not really part of Middle East, North Africa. And so he said, become part of Central Asia. He said, no. So they formed a new region in their, they called it Eurasia region. And they made Pakistan a part of Eurasia. Please consider that. Why? And I'll tell you why. One must thank God for Modi every day. Modi, by denying us access to South Asia and Southeast Asia, by default, made us the gateway for Asia. Made us the gateway for Asia. Today, Karachi and Gwadar are the gateways of Asia. And in fact, on 18th of January, Lahore University, Lahore is the biggest port of France, and that thing, we are hosting a Eurasia conference in which a lot of academics from South Asia, Central Asia are coming, and Europe, and we will be part, as they will be known as gateways, Pakistan, France, for Eurasia. So I want to tell you this because of the unique position Pakistan has. We keep on talking about China-Pakistan economic corridor, and that is correct. It's a great thing. Not many people know that as a young helicopter pilot, I was attached to the People's Liberation Army when they did not have helicopters. And I was flying on the KKH flight attached to the People's Liberation Army, and they're making this. And at that time, my interpreter, who I had a lot of conversation with, and I used to tell him, what are you doing this? Why are people dying here? For what reason? There's nothing in Xinjiang province. And what would you bring from Xinjiang province to Pakistan? And he said, you Pakistanis are stupid because you think in terms of 5, 10 years, we think in terms of 50, 100 years. That gentleman, that was 1970. He became the ambassador of China to Pakistan in 2003, Mr. Chang Zunliang. And he still rings me up every year and says, who's stupid? We are stupid, because they were thinking of that thing. China-Pakistan economic corridor is a great thing to Pakistan, but people forget there is a greater corridor, the North-South corridor, which brings from Central Asia and that Central Asia into Europe. And the RCD, old RCD highway, which takes you from here to Istanbul and on to Europe. And because of the RCD highway, across Saudi Arabia into Africa. So, we are blessed being one of the most favored countries in the world. I was addressing some CEOs, about 100 of them, the other day in another forum. And for me, all of them were talking doom and gloom, economy, this, that, and the other. And I asked this question. I said, please let me know, which of you has had a loss this year? Nobody got up, because nobody had had a loss. Then I asked them, is it a fact that all the banks are making exorbitant profits? And they said, yes. I said, textile sector, cement sector, every sector, almost. I said, is it a fact that there's meat on the shelves and there's atta on the shelves? Yes, महंगाई है. But क्यों है? मैं आपको बताता हूँ बात. When I left the army, I'm not saying it out of boasting. I was supposed to be one of the top officers of the army I stood first in the captain to major promotion exam out of 3,500 officers. And I stood first in the staff college entrance exam out of 600 officers. For reasons that are sensitive to me, I will not say why I left the army, but when I left the army, I thought LC was a girl, letter of credit. That was the amount I knew about the army, about the economy. I knew nothing. So today, when I'm asking people, why is it as a layman's language, what is wrong with our economy? So let me tell you, one day before the Pakistan rupee depreciates against the dollar, I know. And when it appreciates against the dollar, I know. And people ask me, how do you know? He said, I own a cash in transit company called Wacken Hut, armored company which moves cash. One of the things they do is to carry foreign exchange from Karachi to Peshawar and from Peshawar to Karachi. The day they're carrying dollars from Karachi to Peshawar, we know that it's going to Afghanistan and the rupee is going to go down. The day the money is coming this side, we know the rupee is going to stabilize. It's very simple. We are feeding the most ungrateful nation on this earth, Afghanistan. Most ungrateful. We've lost people. People have died. Our economy has suffered. Our infrastructure has been destroyed. And today, they shell us. And they're saying, sending the cadets to the Indian Military Academy. साल भी नहीं हुई. Our transit rate जो है वो free है उनके लिए. We don't charge them a penny. And they, if our vehicle lands up in the Khyber Pass, Landi Kotal, up to Turkandi, they say give the money in advance before the thing goes. It is time we thought about ourselves. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, what we are. We have the second largest copper and gold reserves in the world. That's not figment of imagination. We talk about one recordic, we can have 100 recordics in that area. There's so many mining companies can come up in that area. We just have to get our policies right. We have to get our regulation right. We have to minimize the bureaucratic wrangles. We have the third largest coal reserves in the world. We have less than 1% carbon emission. And we are the sufferers of climate change. Why cannot we use? There are enough cleansing of material that we can turn coal into petroleum or whatever, and we can use other things, but we must use our coal reserves. Third largest coal reserve in the world. Take textiles. If you take cotton and textiles together, we have the fourth largest textile industry in the world. And we have the fifth largest milk producing country in the world. We have no cheese. We are the sixth largest rice producing country in the world. We have the seventh largest wheat producing country in the world. If our flour mills and atta mills in Raimiar Khan, etc., we're not making 4 million tons of wheat, crushing it into atta and sending it to Afghanistan, our prices there would remain low. And we would never have a shortage of wheat. But let me tell you, Tariq Malik Saab was here about Asan mobile account, which my company has done, which is a very simple thing. You dial *2262# and you can make an account, because for many of the people, 80% of Pakistan's adult population does not have bank accounts. They can never have a bank account. You can talk about roti and kapda, but if you want to talk about makan, you have to have a bank account to finance that makan. So now, the World Bank Financial Inclusion Scheme has talked about. Today, because we cannot find, the Prime Minister cannot find time, whether it's Imran Khan or Shabashi, it doesn't matter, find time to launch it, so we had to do a soft launch in December last year. We have now today over 6 million accounts. Tariq Malik Saab was wrong. We don't have 1 million women, we have 2.4 million women. 41% of those people are women. So you can imagine from 18%, the women, unless you bring women, empower them, bring them into the economy, like every nation has done from Bangladesh or Vietnam or etc., you will never progress. So there is you. The last thing I tell you, that let us be clear about a few things. We can talk about democracy, but there are restraints, constraints, and certain things that we must do. We must not fall prey to all the other Muslim countries that went prey to the Arab Spring. Libya destroyed, Tunisia destroyed, Syria destroyed, many other countries, Iraq destroyed, right? Turkey just managed to get out of it, right? Pakistan is still, thank God. Pakistan is there, and I tell you it very proudly. The Pakistan army, the Pakistan is because the Pakistan army is. The Pakistan army is because the discipline that the Chief of Army Staff enjoys is. So please keep that in mind. We do have democracy, but there are various stages of democracy. The monarchy is also democracy in the Middle East. Why doesn't some people talk about them? सिंगापुर के बारे तो कोई नहीं बोलता, वो भी democracy है. So there are limits to certain democracy. There are certain things which must remain sacred. I must talk about the turnaround in the end. Our vast reservoir of youth, जो ये switch बनाया, जो ये middleware बनाया, ये इन लोगों ने बनाया, average age 27, average age 27. पाकिस्तान में हमें अभी तक recognition नहीं मिली है. वो बेचारे बड़े कोशिश करते हैं लोग recognition किसी तरह मिल जाए, लेकिन बाहर मुल्कों में हमें represent ज़रूर मिली है. वर्ल्ड इकोनॉमिक फोरम के एडिसन अलायंस में हमें लाइट हाउस कंट्री डिक्लेयर कर रहे हैं एज वन ऑफ द लाइट हाउस कंट्रीज बिकॉज ऑफ दिस स्विच. क्वीन मैक्सिमा ऑफ नेदरलैंड्स, हु इज द हेड ऑफ फाइनेंशियल इंक्लूजन एंड विमेन एम्पावरमेंट फॉर द एडवाइजर टू यूनाइटेड नेशंस, mentioned this without saying that there is something extraordinary in Pakistan, a system for the poor and the women. Right? And today, we are, this 6 million switch, we are working with 16 banks, 5 telcos. Right? And obviously, one day, that 6 million accounts, we hope by end of next year will be 20 million accounts of the poor people, the deprived people, women. Once they come into the economy, they transact business, you will see how this economy will pick up. I tell you, as somebody who's 76 years old, fought for this country 2.5 times, twice in wars, and at least once in a guerrilla warfare. And I've seen a lot of my friends die, wounded, sacrifice for this country. And somebody asked me, why didn't you migrate? Why? This is the best country in the world. This is the country which will be the superpower of this region in 7-8 years. If we, the businessmen of this thing, can make sure that we exploit the way Muzaffar Piracha here is exploited. I was astonished when I visited his factory. I tell you, it was revelation for me. And he's very right. This thing can be done, multiplied many times over. Field it can be multiplied. So please, Ijaz Saab, I congratulate you for bringing this extraordinary bunch of entrepreneurs together. Entrepreneurship is what holds us together. Youth is what we can combine our youth with entrepreneurship, combine our innovation capacity. There's nothing that a Pakistani cannot do. I tell you, I feel proud that I'm here, standing in front of you, humble that you should listen to what I have to say, and thank you for listening to me.